was a little sweeter.
Well, Joey, I appreciate you being here with me today. You're one of my better friends, and I wanted to do a podcast over, just growing friendships through the hunting world. And that's what, to me, a lot of times hunting's about, especially as we get older. I know when we was younger, it used to be about what we could do, how we could do it best or better than anything. But nowadays, it's about friends to me.
How you could outdo one another in competition. And but yeah, happy to be here.
Well, I appreciate you coming. But so me and you met, we was figuring it up, was back in 2010, wasn't it?
2010 was probably I heard the name through the grapevine of hunting with some people, but I know you have about 10 years on me in age. So yeah, we met at a fish fry with my little hunting crowd, and I think you and Dana was invited to it.
Right.
That's when we met. And I think took us a few years to actually get warmed up to one another.
It was probably about 2 because after that fish fry, that summer after that fish fry, that next spring, Corey seen me at the Jet and asked me if I wanted to go on a hunting trip with y'all to Kansas. And as soon as I left out the Jet, I got in the car with my wife and was figuring out how I was going to break that to her, that I went on and told Corey, yeah, I'll go with you. So we packed up and we went to Kansas and struck out. And I remember one of the funniest things about that trip going out to Kansas, and I didn't really know you. We went in your truck, like I said, got to be hanging around a little bit with you and all. And about every hour, you would reach down there and pull a Cadbury egg out from under your seat. And that went on to where after about 12 of them, I asked you if you was laying them things. Do you remember that?
I had that sleeve of Cadbury eggs. I don't know how many was in that sleeve, 5 or 6 or 7.
And that was back when you was greedy, because even you didn't want to share your hunting ground. You didn't want to share none of them eggs either, because you just kept them hid right there.
Not none of my Cadburys, man. Stay away from them. But we worked all day, and that was back when we was young, and worked all day. And I think we probably left 9:30, 10 o'clock that night. We
left that night and drove all night. No, I take that back, because me and Tyler worked together at the airplane factory, and we left like at 3 o'clock that evening.
Okay.
But we did drive all night because we got out there at daylight and stood on the hill.
Took 18 hours. I needed some energy. I think I drove the whole.
You drove about the whole way. You didn't want nobody driving that truck.
Yeah.
That's another story about out there. Me driving that truck down that muddy road and getting your truck all muddy. Having the tractor pull me all the way up that road.
That's bad.
Kansas, it gets slick, boy, when it gets wet.
Dirt road, you don't pull on it after a rain.
No, I did. I went. It said this. I remember the sign said gravel ends. Tyler said, "What are you doing?" I said, "Oh, we're gonna go on down through here and pick up Corey." Next thing, I was sitting in the edge of a field, stuck as could be. Corey come walking across the field, talking about, "I'm glad y'all come to pick me up." I'm like, "We ain't going nowhere."
But you're probably one of my last best friends, I would say, that I've joined to the ranks of my best friend, and it's all because of hunting.
Yeah.
And so kind of one of the little things I was thinking about of this was, growing up, I've got 3 best friends I talk to about every day. That's kind of my support group of guys, and you being one of them. But I met one of my friends in 6th grade that hunting kind of brought us together, and it's funny because I knew he hunted kind of like I knew you hunted, and I remember the first time I caught him, I just killed a deer. This is Anthony, and we hadn't, besides talking about hunting at school, we didn't really were really close friends or anything. But I remember calling him after I shot a deer, just wanting to tell somebody that had that likeness of bond. And then later in life, I met my other close friend, Landon. That was that's a whole different story. Freshman year of college, but he was sitting in his dorm room.
There was a little more hunting going on then. Y'all was hunting a little more girls than you was hunting in the woods, probably.
Yeah, but he was sitting down here at Georgia College, and he didn't have nobody that he was close to in school. And he saw me having a hunting shirt, walked by his dorm room, and was like, "Hey man, you hunt?" I'm like, "Yeah." And he'll go into extreme detail about what all I was wearing, because it was the only time I ever wore that shirt in my life. It was one of those murals of wildlife that your dad picks up.
That your grandpa wore out there that had all the turkeys.
My dad had picked it up on an elk hunting trip, and he wanted to bring me a souvenir back home. And it was just one of those murals of, a white-tailed buck with a bass eating a dragonfly out of the water. And, he picks on me. I think that was the only time I ever wore that shirt, and it become a friendship out of it. And it was just because he saw me. He's like, "Hey, I bet you that guy hunts," and I did. But it's just funny to me. Over the years, my best friends have been picked up through that core thing of hunting, and as we've grown up and matured in Christ and everything, they're also my hunting buddies, but also my Christian hunting buddies.
Right.
So that kind of helps me keep on the narrow path. And then, sometimes we talk about outdoors, sometimes we talk about our wives and relationships and relationships with Christ even.
But it is good having that phone to pick up, to call in any situation, like you said, when it comes to hunting, having that group of friends that helps you all around. And that's one thing I think it does help that we have grown into since even me and you known each other. Our relationship has gotten to be pretty strong in church and everything. And the going into us hunting, back to the hunting though, the first trip where me and you got to really hunt on was in Florida, when we went down to Florida, and that was a fun but pretty crazy trip right there.
Yeah, that was what year was that?
That would have been
2012.
2012. No, 2011 was the
It'd been 2012.
2012. Yeah, 2012.
That time we got to hunt together.
Yeah, we hunted together the whole time.
The whole time.
I
think we had 3 or 4 days down there.
Right.
And you killed one pretty close right off the bat.
The first evening.
Yeah, the first evening.
That hunt right there goes back to where I've said before, once you've hunted a place, you learn the land, you learn a little something about it. Turkeys aren't going to do the same thing over and over and over every day, but they are going to kind of be in the same places and all. And so that evening, I ended a hunt down there the year before with another one of our friends, Jim, and didn't kill a turkey, but was just in a spot. And I told you, I said, I think if we go here this evening, we can kill one. And we did. It worked out right. But then we hunted hard for 3 days?
Yeah, I was about to say, you killed one right off the bat, which I was fine with, but because I had that brand new video camera, we'd really got into video and hard at that point. And then about day 3 or 4, I was really wishing I'd let Jamie video, and I would have took the gun because I was struggling. I was almost at the verge of being depressed because we hadn't had any luck.
Going back to my hunt right quick, though, this will always be a big memory to me. Me and you have made some really good memories, but my legs falling asleep so bad. We watched that turkey for 35, 45 minutes, pretty close, and could not move because we had turkeys around us. I shot and killed the turkey, and you jumped up, and you can see on the video camera going back to hunt, you was spinning around, woo! I was laying on the ground, you was looking back at me like, what's up? I jumped up to run out there, and just my legs went kapooey. There wasn't no feeling in them at all. I face planted.
It's where that 10 years of youth.
Yeah, your youth was a lot better than on me, but skipping to your hunt that last morning, you had done got in that little bit of a sour mood that all of us hunters could get in, but you wasn't bad. You wasn't somebody, it was like bad to hang around, but I felt bad because I wanted you to kill a turkey, and you was like, let's just go home. Let's go get packed up. It was probably 9:30 in the morning.
Yeah, we was planning on leaving out and heading home at lunch.
And you was like, let's just go get packed up. And I think it started a little bit of a tradition for us to killing a few birds that we did down the road. But I said, let's stop right here. It's beautiful, and hit that box call.
And 9 times out of 10, usually that does not produce a gobble.
It don't. But that one time out of 10, it does.
It does. And it can change. You go from zero to hero, as we say a lot of times in turkey hunting. You don't think there's a turkey anywhere near you. Because I think we actually probably started pretty close to that turkey that morning listening.
Right.
And we heard some turkeys way off. Kind of like normal turkey hunting scenario, you hear birds on the limb way off, and you're gonna go to the birds gobbling, which we did. And by the time we got to those, they had shut up and kind of piddled around and made our way back to camp, kind of where we started. And that bird, I think we parked the truck, hit a box. I think you hit a box call, or I hit a box call.
Yeah, I got out and hit the box call, and then I was gonna back the truck up.
You
didn't know what to do.
Truck.
Yeah, I was like, go sit right there and go kill him, and I got back in the truck and was backing up. And you was in the road waving at me like, oh, come on, and, get the truck back. So I was like, well, run down there with you. And I videoed, and I mean, it was, that hunt was a very, very pretty hunt. That bird was off in that hammock, and he was gobbling. And then
We caught him out of that hammock, and then all of a sudden we had a unexpected predator show up other than us, a bobcat.
We
come
didn't know
sneaking
what
in
went
there.
wrong. That turkey started putting. You remember? It was
Yeah.
like,
Well, we was looking at the turkey coming up out of the hammock, and that turkey started putting like, and I knew the sun was shining on us, but like, why is he spooking?
yeah, it was a big old bobcat. I mean, that bobcat walked up within 3 yards of us. I mean, we was sitting in a palmetto bush,
Yeah.
and he walked up, I mean, dead on top of us. And finally, what helped, he noticed us
Right.
and kind of run back, and we hit the turkey with a few more calls, let him calm back down. And
Can't believe he come back up there. I mean,
Yep.
it's just all God planned, I think.
right.
That,
That was when another thing people wouldn't have never said worked, but we had old Drop Dead Fred.
Yep, old foam Jake decoy cut in half with a turkey
Turkey fan
fan
stuck in it.
Poor man's.
Poor man's strutting decoy. It worked, though, didn't it?
It worked. Them real tail feathers, and yeah, he come in there. That was my first Osceola. I think we've been to Kansas and Montana together, and Florida and Georgia, and we had a good run for shorter friendship that we have.
Yeah,
together,
real good run.
Which I keep tabs on everything, and he, Wolf being a little bit of outlaw back in the day, he didn't ever write down anything, and I like to keep records and kind of.
It's like keeping up with all your cash money with the government. You know what I mean? You can't write all that down. Mr. Green Jeans get that book, but no, we pick and talking about that. Every turkey we have killed has been legal.
Yeah.
Every turkey we've killed has been a legal kill, and we've had a good time. Like you said, a good stretch of turkey hunting.
But anything with friendships too. I mean, we've like over the course of the past few years, we've my boys are getting up in age and taking them hunting, and we've kind of grown apart. Still talk every day pretty much, but as far as hunting together, we don't get to hunt together.
Not much anymore. You know what I mean? We try to make it happen during turkey season a few times. Last year I had us a turkey we was gonna go kill, and of all times you overslept, and that's something you never do. That morning you did. You called me. When you called me, the turkey was gobbling. I said, he just gobbled, Joey. Where are you at? You said, I'm just getting out of bed. I said, well, I'm fixing to go kill him.
I did meet you to take a picture for you.
You did come take a picture with me. Then you went and tried to kill you a turkey or something. You had went on to Nelligan's.
Yeah, I got on up and went, but
That's right, you did. You come out here on the rocking out here at the yard and took a picture of him. But yeah, so after that, me and you we got in a hunting club together. It was a hunting club I've been in throughout most of my life, and we had big old area river swamp, which it had a lot of memories and all in it, but a big old area river swamp we run together for a while and had a campsite we shared and all down there, and really made some, for what years we had down there, we made some good memories down there too. Good times. My kids were small.
yeah, we put a lot of work in building us a little cabin to have a place to stay because it wasn't close to the house.
Yeah.
Half the trip was getting to the gate, and the other half was getting to where it was big enough to half the time you was traveling trying to get to where you was gonna hunt.
I remember getting together, and it was like the first year we was in there, and one thing I always loved about down there was shooting hogs with a bow.
Yeah.
And I always loved shooting hogs with a bow down there, and they had some stupid rules. I will say that club at times had stupid rules, but you couldn't shoot hogs through the summertime, which made them just pure stupid come bow season, and you could walk and stalk them pretty easy. And so I told you we was going to have some really good fun doing that with a video camera. And I remember one of the first hunts we had like that, you was videoing me, and we got on the edge of one of the big dead lakes. It was like the biggest dead lake that was down there. And I was seeing some hogs out there on a little green patch of grass that was out there on the edge of it. And we was slipping around some willow trees. You remember this hunt? We was slipping out there, and I ended up getting in bow range. It was getting right at, I'm talking about last little bit of light. And I ended up drawing back and getting on one of them pigs, and I stuck it pretty good, and it took off up through back towards the road. And I remember easing up out there and was looking for my air and blood, and eased up to the edge. And you remember what happened after that?
Yeah, I noticed the sound that I knew all familiar was that no, 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 no. I looked at you and I was like, Jamie, there's some gators right here.
he was like, just stop moving, just stop for a second. And Joey's always kept his little pocket gadgets. He's like one of those kids that has all the little gadgets. He's got his little bitty pocket flashlight and everything that it'll bright up the moon, shine to the moon, whatever. But he pulled that flashlight out, and I'm talking about within probably 2.5 feet of where I was standing, it started. First you seen was this big old slide. And then there was just all these little red eyes, and I remember you was about grabbing on my shirt sleeve. You was like, because I was in front of you a little bit and was looking. You was like, Jamie, that's alligators. And I think the reason we ain't had a light on yet, I walked up there and I remember having a luminoc, and
Well,
it was sitting
really
there flashing.
dark. We was talking up on those.
Yeah, and I just went up there to that luminoc and was getting that air. And while I was doing that, you had heard. I wasn't even paying attention to the gators. You had heard the gators, but
Well, we went back down there the next day. I think there was a big female with a bunch of little babies.
yeah, I think Joey had binoculars. I think on the edge of the bank, he counted it was like 26 babies, and it was a female. She probably pushed close to 9 foot, big, good sized female gator. But we got lucky on the hog. It run straight up there to the road, fell dead right in the middle of the road. We was able to pull the truck right up there to it and get it. But that kind of started off just some fun hunting that we had, and we killed some nice deer. My wife killed a good deer down there with us, and we put in a lot of work and did a lot of time and hunting together. But it was just the memories. We made some really, really good memories. We killed several turkeys down there.
Yeah, that's kind of when you come back to friendship and jealousy and hunting and everything. And I can see a couple of deer in here that I was, as being a friend, you want your friends to succeed and you want them to be successful. But when you're hunting the same deer, kind of like this one above us, I think, and they shoot it opening day the first 5 minutes, and you're sitting about 400 yards from him, where he was probably eating out of your corn pile all night long, and then he walks over to your buddy and he shoots him.
He was coming across the clear cut. Joey actually had pictures of that deer. 3 weeks during bow season. You'd hunted him during bow season across a big clear cut from where I'd put a big tripod, and I'd put a bunch of corn out. And it was crazy because I could see why Joey kind of had a tear in his eye, because he had hunted this deer, and the deer didn't show up over there to my place till about a day or two before season. I'm like, man, I got a picture of that deer. Is it the same deer? Joey looked at it and said, yeah, that's the same deer. And then it was 5 minutes. I could hear the sticks cracking with the deer walking out in the clear cut. And it got to be light enough I could shoot. And finally I could see the horns and all good and all. And I sat there and eased up. And like Joey said, it'd been 5 minutes into deer season opening in Georgia. And Payal, I shot off with that big 7 bag, and Joey texted, that you just shot? And I was like, yeah. He said, what'd you shoot? I said, I don't know, a big old buck's all I can tell you. He's thinking the whole time in his deer stand, well, I hope it ain't that 9-pointer.
Yeah, it was.
I sat there, I told you, I said, I'm going to sit here for at least an hour and a half before I get down and go look for him since it's opening day. I sat there. When I went down, I walked up on him. I said, ooh, Joey's going to be upset. But you was happy, though, in a way, too.
I was happy for you.
Yeah.
Not at that particular time. I wasn't that thrilled, but I mean, that's just part of hunting is, even though we're close friends, got me close friends, is there's a lot of jealous bones in a hunting with friends and family.
It is. And me and you killed some good deer down there, and you killed a really good 10-pointer down there, on a place we kind of picked out and hunted. And that deer pushed close to 140 inches, didn't he?
Probably my biggest deer in Georgia.
In Georgia, yeah, really, really good deer. And I was super happy when you killed that deer. But yeah, there was some things that went on down there and kind of led for us not being a part of that club. And there ain't, no sense in going to that. But I think that's one thing that me and you both have learned kind of with us is kind of pack up and move on. And there's no sense in drowning in sorrows of bad things that can happen, because this can happen to a lot of people. I've known a lot of people, man, that things have happened into their hunting clubs because of jealousy, and it isn't worth it to me. Especially, you've really got to mature. Once you mature in yourself and really put Jesus in the middle of things too, and that helps you with a lot of that. And all that is tests and trials to me in life. You know what I'm saying? And it's jealousy. And it ain't just with hunting, it's everything in life, but hunting can bring on a lot of it. And to me, if you're wanting to be a really good person and a good steward towards people and all, then I mean, you want them to do good. If you win a hunting club, you want people to do good. You should really thrive on helping people more than bashing them. It's one thing I hate worse. You got little boys now. We can talk about that. Like and honestly, I think some of the places you're hunting and all now, and especially places I've hunted, the Lord's blessed us in ways since we've actually lost that piece of property together. You've got a really good place on the river to be able to hunt and take your boys to, and I've got several places, but
Well, yeah, talking about, I mean, just growing and maturing in Christ too is, I look at it now since I have little boys and, I want to set an example for them, whereas my example is being more Christ-like. And, if I want them to pick up and not do the same mistakes I did growing up, I got to and kind of center my life around Christ, set that example. Because if they're looking at for me as an example, I'm going to fail them.
right.
Where if I'm more in line with Christ, it's they're going to see that and fall toward Christ as being their example. Although I'm leading them, but I'm going to have to lead them through Christ as being an example. But because they're just looking for me as Joey Tinsley as a role model, I'm going to fail them.
Yeah.
I'm going to show them, Ronnie Tinsley, who was my role model, which wasn't a bad role model to have, but a lot of worldly role modeling there. So having them boys is one of the greatest gifts, and now that they're getting old enough to hunt, is kind of one of the greatest gifts God has given me, and be able to experience that. Because my dad growing up, I mean, he always. So we talk about it all the time, do we start them off too young? Where our dads, we was biting at the bit, and they'd leave us at the house and go hunting. And is it a mistake with our children now, starting them too young and taking them hunting? And, I hope it's not, because I can see the passion in one of mine right now that he's got it.
And I think he'll keep it. I can see it in him too, and I think it'll keep it. I worry about that with kids. It is different these days. It's so different compared to when we hunted. I killed my first deer at 11, and I mean, I got put up in a deer stand with a shotgun by myself. Daddy practiced with me in the yard, made sure when I say practice, he took me out there and let me shoot a 20 gauge 3 times. That even at 11, that 20 gauge with buckshot about knocked you on your tail, shot that put a old milk jug or something out there and said, let me see if you can hit that. I thought, all right, then he taught me how to load it and all that. And he put me up in a stand. I remember getting in a stand that the stand had 2x4 block sections cut and nailed into the tree. I'm talking about like 4-inch sections of a 2x4, maybe 6 inches. You ever seen them old stands? And it's like you had to climb onto them blocks to get up to a platform that was built in between like 3 trees or something.
You was rock climbing, but with a tree.
Yeah, no safety harness, no nothing. And they wasn't but about 12 foot high sometimes, but some of them were high. But I mean, that and turkey hunting, it was all just turned you out on your own. I mean, like I've told the story before, I called up my first turkey when I was 12, but I was sitting on a tree by myself. Mm-hmm. So yeah, we was turning out. We was just pointing down the road, and it is different, and it is good with kids. I mean, the memories we make in these days are just, it is different. Like I wouldn't trade my dad for the world. I mean, he put me into hunting and made me who I am, but it's like now how we take the time to take the pictures, to enjoy it, to soak it up. You kill a big old buck back then, it was, grab it, throw it on the truck, let's go, we got to clean. You know what I mean? No pictures. It just, everything went by, you'd have one old Polaroid. But I mean, technology's changed too,
For the better or for the worse, we'll see.
Yeah. But I do worry about hunting a little bit when it comes to like that. Sometimes I kind of wish we could go back to the old style without no baiting and all, and you had to find a white oak tree. It just teaches kids really how to hunt than sitting over a feeder and killing a deer. And there's nothing wrong. It's legal. So I'm not knocking that whatsoever, but it has changed a lot.
Yeah, there's a lot of controversy over that. I mean, we talk about it daily a lot of times about, we make it so easy for them. The challenge for us when we was little, you may go and not even see a deer.
Right.
Because you was hunting the food plot and, being naive as a youngster, we was not looking at win or anything like that, just not knowing what we know now as we grew as hunters. But, now having all the knowledge I've gained by hunting over the years, and, I'm teaching the kids what I know, but to them, it's easy peasy. You go out there and we see a deer, and I mean, heck, my 5-year-old killed 3 this year. We shot at a deer every time we went.
Right.
Where me, it took years.
Yeah,
Granted, it didn't take years to kill a deer, but I had to hunt.
he killed a nice 8-pointer too.
Yeah.
A nice deer. So, that's where I hope that like they will stick with it and love it like we did. And I think your littlest one now, I think he's got it. I love listening to him. And you can tell like our friendship's close. They called me Uncle Jamie, and he wants to call like me and you call each other about first when we kill something. I love getting them phone calls from him. And this year, he amazed me really at his age and what you've done with him as a father and all. He killed 2 turkeys at 4 years old.
At 4 years old with a little 410, and I won when I was 15 years old. And granted, we couldn't do that when we was 4 because we didn't have TSS shot. But that's one thing I will say: technology has changed for the better
a lot.
Because it has been able for us to take kids hunting and turkey hunting. That was the rule back in the day, our day growing up. If you couldn't shoot a 3-inch number 4 or a 3.5-inch number 4 or 5 shot, you couldn't go turkey hunting in 12 gauge.
Right.
You had to be able to handle 12 gauge at 12, 13, 14 years old to be able to go turkey hunting. And now with TSS, you can shoot them with a 410.
Right.
So that's one thing I say technology has changed for the better.
And I can remember when that 410 first come out with that TSS, we was actually still in the hunting club at the river, and you brought out that little 410, and my daughter was 11 years old and killed her first turkey with me and you. And I remember sitting there at the camp, and you put that target up at 30 yards with a modified choke. Put that Federal TSS in there. You remember that pattern you had on them turkey? What's them turkey targets you like that light up? It
shows you where the shot hit.
Yeah, like the real deal that shows you the yellow pellets all in the real looking turkey's head. And that thing blistered it. Joe was like, dang, he's like, I might have to hunt with this a little bit, but yeah, it did. That is a good thing that they have done with technology these days. Is made it where you can shoot a lot lighter loads. And me, and I talk this year. I killed 2 turkeys with a 410. That's all I care about hunting with pretty much nowadays. It's so fun and so light to carry. But yeah. So me and you go to church together and all. And we've been just hanging out a good bit besides more in the hunting. And like I said, we've grown in faith, but there was something that the good Lord had led me to do with, an outdoor ministry. It's been on my heart because of how much I love outdoors and kids and all. And I was glad that you kind of stepped in and became part of that with me. And you actually come up with the name with the Lake Country Outdoor Ministries. And we've done a couple of events. We just kind of have kicked that off to where it's not, you wish you had the time to just do event after event after event. And sometimes it's like, I feel like you're expected, but it's all to getting the time to be able to do it. But we did have a really good youth turkey hunt this year.
Yeah. And I think it's also the good Lord put it on your heart, and turkey hunting, kind of like this podcast, is kind of your bread and butter. And I think the Lord's going to bless you with following what you listen to him.
Right.
And, I think that's, as long as you listen to him and go where he's guiding you to go, I think you're going to be doing good with it. Just like he blessed our turkey hunt this year. We had a lot of people showed up, and
I think 104 showed up for dinner.
Yeah, and 30, I think we had 30 kids.
It was dead up. 30 kids signed up for the hunt. And we had some people participate to guide that went very well. And we had a really nice dinner that evening and had a lot of people that helped sponsor, gave money. And so we had a bunch of giveaways for the kids. And
everybody left with something that night. All the kids left with a prize, in hopes of killing a turkey the next morning. But with 30 kids, I think we had
7
or 7 killed a turkey, and a couple of first turkeys that next day.
Right.
They got to hear a message from you. We had a good turnout, real good turnout.
Yeah, that was one of them message things. Was one of them where you get up there, you think you got it all planned, and it was about like us fixing to start this podcast, and the computer wouldn't work. It was like I got up there and my papers were all jumbled. I had them all neat, and I'm like, but it turned out really good. That was one of the first couple times I got up and spoke to an audience, really doing a big time devotion like that. And when the Lord leads you to do it, and you kind of want to shy away from it, but it blesses you when you really listen to what He's telling you to do. Well, getting back to us hunting together and all, there was a couple of times where our wives come and actually did a little hunting with us too. I remember we had one really good evening where.
Yeah, I think it was the first year we got in the swamp down there, and we convinced the wives to come down there. I think they even stayed with us.
Yeah, they did.
Spent the night, and I took Laura, and we ended up killing. She ended up shooting a big sow. Big sow.
Yeah, it's a real big. I'm talking about probably
like I thought it was a boar hog when she shot it, but it ended up being a big sow.
I would say 350 pounds.
I mean, she was a
monster
sow.
And Dana that same evening killed a really good buck, really good 8-pointer. She actually killed 2 nice 8-pointers out of that swamp through the years. I can't get her to go hunting anymore. She told me she was going turkey hunting with me this year, but she wouldn't
back in the day. They did it to spend time with us, and because that's what we love to do. Which my wife, I mean, she's killed a couple of turkeys just like Dana has, and she knows why she has experienced and understands why we do it, but she don't care about going back and doing it again.
Well, Dana's first turkey, I can remember her first turkey. I carried her to over there off of Harmony, one of my favorite little spots that I have been having to hunt for years. And anyway, we get out there and it's starting to break daylight, and I hoot with my mouth like I do, and turkey gobbles, get set up. And she has this. Dana needs to buy like more lottery tickets. She tells me to go in the store and buy them, but she really needs to go in there and buy them because she has that luck, So she's killed 2 nice deer, like I said, turkeys, and probably only been hunting 6 times. Got 2 deer on the wall, turkeys to go along with it, but. Actually, turkey flew down. I don't have them kind of hunts, Joey. You've hunted with me enough. It's very rare I just have one fly down and just come right in and do its thing like it's supposed to. It's usually 1 o'clock by the time I can kill him if I stay on him all day. But she had a picture perfect hunt, and she did. She was walking out and had that turkey throwed over her back. I made her carry it out. She had it over her back I made her carry it out part of the way anyway. And she told me then, she's like, I really understand why you do this. Yeah. And I know why you enjoy it so much. And she says, I can see, and it made you feel good. She's like, and you're good at what you're doing. So I'm like, the next day, you going to get up and go turkey hunting? She's like, no. She said, no. I did it. I seen it. I understand why you do it, But
over the years, we had a couple of good hunts. My favorite hunt when it comes to, well, we can talk about yours because yours was really the first one down there at the swamp was the one we killed that evening over opening weekend. And when we got in the swamp, Jamie hunted it his whole life, which it was unbelievable turkey hunting. But he said, when we get in the swamp, I'll let you be the first one on the gun and shoot one. And we hunted all day. I think that was in the second day of the season you shot that one. We hunted that first day and second day.
The turkeys wasn't gobbling, man.
We tried them gobbling. We just hadn't had one within gun range.
Right, that's what it was, yeah.
And Jamie said, let's go sit down here in this bottom and see if we can't call one up, kind of an evening spot. You'd learned over the years that you got kind of those turkey killing areas, we call them. Mm-hmm. And sure enough, we went and set up in that bottom. And that joker, we kind of put the decoy out there and set.
You got to remember it, and I'm going to tell it like it is. I'm going to tell it just like it is. We was sitting there. We ain't heard nothing. We ain't hardly heard nothing since daylight that morning, if I think right. We was sitting on this big old, I would say like a type of tupelo tree, water them swamp trees, root bases come out, and you got a little hole you can kind of get in, just almost like a chair. We was in that thing just perfect. And we've been sitting there probably an hour and a half. 2 hours or so, but we'd sit where we was almost like not shoulder to shoulder, but where we could talk.
We could talk, but we was facing two different
directions. And I can remember, and this was my exact saying. I told Joey, I said, man, I'd almost just give one of my nuts if I could hear a turkey gobble right now. Joey started giggling and laughing, and by that time I made a call, and that joker hammered. Joey's like, there went one of your nuts.
He was right there on top of us, too.
He was right there, and he actually come in, and something seemed weird about him. He come in, he wasn't like strutting. One of his wings was like kind of down a little bit, and I don't know, just the whole walk, I seen him walk in kind of.
He was walking to the decoy, but he was walking down Jamie's gun barrel.
Yeah, he was right down my gun barrel.
Jamie said, I think I'm going to shoot him. He didn't make it to the decoy.
I couldn't take it. It was that back in that time. You hadn't pulled the trigger in a long time. I told Joey, when you got one like that right down the gun barrel, it's hard not to pull the trigger on him. And then I went after that. After we killed that turkey, we found out that turkey had been shot.
Yeah.
The weekend prior.
We think he was probably shot youth weekend.
Yeah, youth weekend by Jason Brooks's boy.
Yeah.
And
so he'd been toting that load, and it was bad.
Yeah, I don't think he would have lived anyway. I was surprised he'd lived that week.
Yeah.
Because
he couldn't fly.
No, you said he done found a old swaying tree or something he was walking up on to sleep on at night or something.
Either got huddled down in a thicket, or he had to walk up a tree to get up off the ground. But he was in enough bad shape that I didn't think he would gobble, but he still had it in him to want to do some breeding, because he sure gobbled at you.
That just shows how wildlife are like that. Because I seen a video just talking about that, about them breeding. I seen a video, and this was a show I was watching. It had a deer in like Illinois or somewhere that they figured it had been hit by a car, and half of his horns was hanging off his head, and you could see brain matter like in his skull, but he was running around chasing a doe.
Yeah.
And he was like a 170-inch deer, and the dude ended up shooting him. And when they got down there to it, I mean, it was just flopping. And that's the only thing they figured. They said he had to have run out and got hit by a car. Skull wide open, horns hanging down. He's still chasing a doe, trying to breed. That is wild how animals can be like that. But we had several good hunts after that. You killed a turkey the next day after that. Wasn't it it was the following day, because we had stayed down there a few days. And we actually struck that turkey up the old Florida way with a box call on the dirt road.
Yep. Drove around and stopped and had a call, and he gobbled off there in the swamp. But probably my favorite hunt was fast forward, I think 2 or 3 years later down there. And I learned my lesson that from that hunt, because I think it was Jamie's turn up to bat. I don't know if either one of us had killed a turkey.
I don't remember if we had. I remember you just saying, I'm shooting, and I was like, okay.
Jamie was going to be on the gun barrel, I think, and we had heard a turkey way off across the river, not even on our side. And that was the closest turkey to us that morning, gobbling. And like, what do you do? Just let's see where he's at. And the closer we got to him, the closer we realized he was on the other side of the river.
But he was like dead on the edge of the bank of the river, roosted in a tree.
So we set up on him on a nice sandbar overlooking the river. How many turkeys? Still probably 200-300 yards away from us, and we got to calling to that turkey, and the whole time we're calling to him like, ain't no way he's gonna cross this river. And we got into the call sequence and got him coming. I think we ended up seeing him on the edge.
You don't want to tell it, because you pick on me. You talking about, Jamie, you ain't got to holler at him. You ain't got to call out. I was giving it to him, was I not? I was pretty much laying into him, and he was hammering.
He was. But he come out to the edge of that, and we had strutting decoy set up on the sandbar. And he come out to the edge of the river, and like, he is going to do this. And you could see that joker just pick up and pitch across that river, and he got just like he skimmed the top of it sailing. When he got to that sandbar, he lifted up and lit and just blew up in the strut.
Yep.
And as soon as he lit, his feet touched that sand. I said, Jamie.
He took like 3 steps.
Jamie, I'm killing him.
I was like, kill him.
And that was probably one of the prettiest hunts. If I had something, I can see it, just like a lot of your hunts, you go back and you can picture it in your mind. But that's one of the hunts that I wish I had a video camera and you was videoing, because that was something to watch. That's probably some of my favorite favorite time hunting down there was turkey hunting with you.
That's where scouting comes involved too, because if you remember, and I think it might have had been the same turkey, you'd went down there and listened, because that was like the first part of the season, opening
Yeah, and they
weekend or
was
so.
them turkeys was flipping back and forth where they was roosting.
And I
across
think
the
we
river.
had ended on like it was my turn to shoot from the last year, however it was, and you said shooting the way it ended up being, because me and you just flip flop on turns on the gun. But yeah, you'd heard that turkey in like a slough, like a dried up big, I don't call it a slough, but a little bottom area. You'd heard him over there that morning and listened to him. And then that's when you told me, you said, I think that's the same turkey that was on this side of the river a couple mornings ago.
Went down there a couple of times, and I think he was roosting on our side one time, and then next day I went down there and I listened to him do the exact same thing, where he flew the river and ended up on our side. So turkeys, they're going to cross it. Sometimes you don't know what they're going to hang up on, or sometimes it can just be a pebble in the road. You think they just won't cross it.
And sometimes they'll walk slam through water to get to you.
Yeah.
I've seen it. You know what I mean? So you can't ever tell what a turkey will do.
Like we say, when he's ready to die,
He's ready to die. Yep. But yeah, we had some good out of town hunts too though. That the swamp was always fun hunting, and we've had some good fun hunting around here. But like we hit on earlier, we've done some traveling together, and we plan on getting back to that this year. And I know things that got slowed up. You've had, your two little boys and the ages of not being able to do as much or whatever, but you've been going to Illinois deer hunting. You've had some really good success out there. You killed 174-inch deer out there with your bow.
It's I've been blessed on that deal. I'm 5 for 5, and knock on wood, this may be 6 for 6
year. Yeah. You've been going out there 6. This will be 6 years, and you've killed deer 5 every year you've been out there.
So
yeah, you're about to get kicked out of that place. Everybody's getting jealous of you.
I'm biding my time on that place, because I figure it's getting where you just, it comes to that friendship and jealousy issue.
Oh yeah.
And your friends are happy for you, but they don't want to get out and help you when you shoot
got
one.
A good friend of yours that's been out there 8 years or 7 years, hadn't even hardly killed one.
Yeah, he's killed one out of 7 or 8 years.
Yeah.
And I mean, I've seen that in. We was talking about hunting and friendships and jealousy. I've seen that, and me and my two buddies I go out with. I mean, they know it's happened, and we've talked about it. So you kill a buck and you expect your friends to be there, and they're happy for me, but they don't want to get out of the deer stand to help me.
Right.
But I've gave them a lot of slack about that, and one of them has apologized and realized, it was the wrong thing to do. They should have helped me. But I can understand on their side too. They're out there to kill a deer, and the more time your butt's in a tree stand is more opportunity you're going to have.
Right.
So,
well, a lot of us, even if you go down that jealousy road and you do something like you said, your friend, and you don't help somebody, or you turn your back and turn away from it, it comes back. It does. It comes back to you, and you realize how stupid you look. You know what I mean? Yeah. How much of a kind of an idiot you were, being the way you were at the times. And we've run into that a couple of times with friends and different things that we've seen. And I mean, by me sitting here saying this, I mean, none of us are perfect. Like we said, I've been on either end, you know what I mean? It's like been on both ends at times. But going back to our hunts, it can be debatable a little bit, because Florida was very, very pretty. Like some of the prettiest places I've hunted, but I was just thinking of the places me and you got to see and so far and go and travel and do. But Montana was that was something special to me almost, which I had my dad, and that was a big plus on that too. My dad got to go with us and got to kill, turkey or a couple of turkeys too. But
we killed a turkey. I mean, I think we killed a turkey apiece together, because that was one trip.
Yeah, we did.
I think when kind of the term, I hate to use it, but reaping a turkey with a strut and decoy was like, that trip was like me and Jamie, we hadn't done it yet. We're like, we're going to do it in one of these alfalfa fields.
Right.
And I think I shot one, and I think my second one was, I think the same way you shot one with your dad.
I shot one with my dad.
And our second one, we did it together.
Right.
And I think it took a few tries to actually get it done, but we got it done.
Right. Yeah, yours was a little better than mine. which I'm was a little bigger,
I think
stouter than you. I never come out the tall grass like he said, but he was coming. I couldn't take it. I'm like, just let him come, and I let him get. I mean, right on top of me before I shot him. But you was like, why didn't you crawl out in the field a little more?
Yeah,
he was videoing it, but that was fun. And I don't, reaping. People can sit there. That's another discussion you can go into when it comes to turkey hunting, reaping or not reaping. I'd rather kill one, me personally, with my back against the oak tree, calling him in, and that thunder gobble coming through there and hearing him drum and all, and just a really good hunt. But I mean, I'm not going to knock reaping either, because I've done it here in Georgia with a bird you can't kill that's got hens, and he's out in a clear cut, and you crawl over that hill and show him that strutter, and boy, here he comes, and it's an adrenaline rush. It really is.
But if they take it away, it'll save some turkeys' lives.
It'd save a lot of turkeys' lives. If they took a strutting decoy away, period. Yeah. And just, you figure if a turkey's roosted around a field really good, and that's his field, because we've seen it, it don't matter how good you can call what you can do. You can go throw a strutter decoy up out there before daylight, when he flies down, that old neck goes up. As that Primos, what was it, Kevin Meacham or one of them, or Chris Ashley on Primos, is always a video I'll remember when strutting decoys come out. That joker flew down and come running 150 yards away to that decoy, and the whole time Chris Ashley, I think, was singing, "There's a stranger in my house." He's like, "Who's that dude?" Couldn't go run him out of there.
Yeah. But growing up, I mean, we had the little foam decoys. Mainly, we didn't have a male.
And them things, man, you might as well use them to start a fire with,
And for the longest time, really, until we started videoing together, probably about the time we met, is really when we started using decoys more as a turkey hunter. And it was mainly because of getting footage. But you did learn using a decoy as soon as that turkey popped up, you didn't have to shoot him, because that decoy had his attention, and you got to see a lot of stuff that you hadn't experienced as a turkey hunter.
And I think that, I know it did me, and I've told a lot of people that, because I can tell people I hunt with now today that I have more patience now than I ever had. And I think a lot of our filming and all brought that into it. Like you said, watching turkeys and watching them come, trying to get that extra footage, milking footage to make what we was trying to do was pretty good TV. And I mean, it helped you learn a lot. But even me, and I can remember times of me and you, we've doubled up a few times, and I'm sitting over there saying, "Wait, don't shoot." You know what I mean? I'm the type, I'll let them walk into the gun barrel, almost look inside of it before I pull the trigger if I can at times. And I know you've been the type, you ready to shoot, which at that time you were shooting a 12 gauge down to 20, and them Jeb's chokes. We wasn't shooting the red dots and all, and you're like, I'm going to miss him if I keep letting him get too much closer, Yeah. And that can be the case, which I remember when I first got my 20 gauge. And I put old Jeb's choke on it and patterned that joker, and boy, it was shooting tight. I was like, I love this thing. What happened? I missed 3 turkeys the opening week of season with that thing. I wanted to wrap it around the tree, and Joey's like, it ain't the gun's fault. Don't throw that gun nowhere. He said, I watched you shoot at targets with it.
I think he even picked up the old school 10 gauge and went back to toting it after them 3 misses.
I told you. And that showed, I don't know. I mean, we was still in some good turkey hunting then, because we was calling turkeys up about every day, it seemed like, and I told you, we was at the swamp. I said, I'm going home. I got something I'm going to get. You like, what? I'm going to get my 10 gauge. I know I can kill one with that joker. And did. Ended up going out there and killing one.
Yeah.
That was one of them good late morning hunts with gobbling and all. And it took me to about 10 o'clock that morning, and I finally killed one.
Mm-hmm. That was up on the hill, close to my old deer stand, box stand. I think you sent a picture of him.
I did.
With that 10 gauge. I think you needed that 10 gauge with all those volunteer.
It was thick, kind of thick in there. He was in. That just shows. That's another thing me and you've seen in that swamp. Yeah. Turkeys, they love wide open, beautiful places, but they could have some of the prettiest places down there and be in the thickest junk. Man, it's like, why is that turkey in that thick crap?
Yeah.
So he'd be in there though.
That turkey on the property line over there by the old home place. I remember that turkey, and it was kind of one of those situations. I set up, off the property line, expecting him to come down that logging road. I mean, it was picture perfect for him to do what he needed to do to get to me. But that joker, he went a circle around me, some of the thickest briars And I heard the turkey coming through the briars.
Yeah, I remember.
But I was like, there's no way that's a turkey. That's a pig over there.
He's about to step
And
on
about
you.
that time, he right there beside me. He didn't come circled around through the thickest stuff and got on the road, and all he had to do was pitch down right there and walk out and see the decoy and come down the. But he did a loop around me, and I couldn't believe that turkey come through that nasty briary. I mean, thick as you could want. I like something I wouldn't want to walk in. Period.
Mm-hmm.
But that turkey dang sure did. So.
Another story I remember, like going back, not killing a turkey wise, but when we went to Montana and how pretty it was and all. So we went to Montana. We met a friend, and talking about building friends with turkey hunting and all. We met a friend in Kansas, Kevin Wallace. I met this guy, and I'm talking about super duper guy. Still friends today, still talk, because actually his birthday was today. So happy birthday out there to you, Kevin. But he met him, went and knocked on a door trying to just hit up a farm. And that's what we kind of would do in Kansas and places. I mean, we'll door knock and just go around trying to find places to hunt. And that's one thing. If you want to find places to hunt, you can't be bashful. You just got to go ask. You got to talk to people, be considerate, be nice, and just, try to see what you can get out of it. And, sometimes you have to give back, but it's all worth it. But I met Kevin and asked him about, turkey hunting around there and the little farm he was hunting on. He actually told us that where he was living at, that we could hunt that farm. He says, but I got a place that's really good and I'll go show y'all, but it's public land. He got in his car and got us in his car and drove us. I'm new just in Kansas, kind of country boy. I'm like, we're either fixing to die or find some good turkey hunting land, so.
As long as we don't hear fiddle music, we're all right.
As long as, I don't know if I'd have done that in Gunnersville once you seen the tires getting slashed and all around the duck hole ramps and all, but, this guy in Kansas, I'm like, we'll try it,
We did learn in the Midwest, as long as it's turkeys, they're all right.
They're all right. Don't mess with the deer.
Don't
talk to them about deer hunting, but yeah, as far as turkey hunting, you're good. But he took us to a place and showed us a place to turkey hunt, and me and Howard actually killed turkeys there the next day. And Corey ended up killing one. That was the trip of all the redheads and me. That was when you wasn't out there then. And so anyway, Kevin hooked us up with this trip in Montana because he had a friend that farmed out there. And he told us, he said, why don't do y'all want to go out there? And he knew we was doing the TV thing and all. So we flew and met him and his cousin Brandon out there in Montana. And the first thing, getting into this story, it blew my mind because we got out of the car. We were standing around waiting. He had told us where to meet us at by the river where we was going to meet them at. And what was I'm trying to think of his friend's name, and I know it, and I can't even think of it off my head. Starts with a D. It ain't Devin. It's
not Dylan.
But it starts with a D.
Starts with a D.
But anyway, he told us where we was going to meet at, and we met, and it was like down a dirt road, and we all pulled up and got to talking. And I thought I heard a turkey gobble, and I'm like, I heard a turkey gobble. It was like, no, you ain't heard no turkey gobble. I'm like, yeah, let's just sit there and listen for a minute. Turkey gobble, and he was telling us the property where it was on, which I don't think we could hunt, but we was fixing to go start looking at property and all. And he told us, he said, there's two things I hope y'all brought. He said, snake boots. We all looked at each other because we in Montana, we ain't thought nothing about snake boots. We thinking hiking boots. We didn't have no snake boots. He said, the rattlesnakes here are something fierce. He said, and tick spray.
Tick spray.
And we was thinking it was going to be.
Two things I didn't think I'd have to worry about.
Yeah,
Montana
40 degrees, 30 degrees, not worrying about no ticks.
Well, they have them prairie rattlers.
Yeah.
Which I didn't ever see one.
I never seen a rattlesnake either. Went without snake boots, but never seen a rattler. But we did find the ticks.
Ticks was something else.
So we got back to the car, and I remember we'd rented a van and got back to the car. And
that first afternoon, we had turkey hunted.
Yeah, we went turkey hunting.
Yeah.
And me and my dad got a couple of ticks off us, like crawling on them. I was like, man, these ticks, these are serious. We got to go find they didn't have a Walmart. You're in the middle of nowhere, just a local general store. We got to go find some bug spray. And we was going back, and Joey was driving, and I can remember you've always had your hair was longer then than it is now. And you went to digging in your hair.
They want to get right there in the back of my.
Pulled out a tick and kind of flicked it out the window. And I think I counted. You'd picked out 12 ticks out of the back of your head.
They wasn't attached, but I could feel them crawling back there.
You was like, I've got to get a bath. I've got to get a shower. We got to go get some bugs. I think you was ready to get some dog dip solution and put in the bathtub and get in it.
It was bad.
Yeah, I've never seen ticks like what was out there.
But we ended up going to the gas station and getting some DEET,
getting
sprayed down. But yeah, them prairie rattlers, I think they was still all close to a den out there. But
it was me and you, my dad and Jim and Brandon and Kevin, and we killed 12 turkeys, and we all had 2 tags, and we killed 12 turkeys in 2.5 days. And it was kind of funny because when we first got there, my dad was like, just don't be expecting, don't be upset if you don't kill a turkey. I'm like, we got to give it a chance. We ain't started hunting yet, did he? And it was turkeys. We got lucky. It was turkeys galore, but you sent another guy out there, and he didn't have that good.
A few years after that, a good friend of mine went out there with just him and his wife, and I don't think they heard turkeys, which I think the turkeys out there, they migrate a lot further than they do here.
And getting to that trip, there's a story to go along with it. We'd actually killed, and that's why I was going to bring this up. We killed 12 turkeys in 2.5 days, so we was there for a week.
Which killing 12 may have hurt.
Yeah, we might have hurt the population a little bit before he went out there, but anyway, so we decided we was going to get in our minivan that we had rented our man, and we was going to ride around and go see Yellowstone and everything, and just beautiful, beautiful country, like something I've never experienced. And I mean, the wildlife, the antelope, the elk,
as long as you stay next to the river, that was beautiful. And once you got off, you got in that desert
look stuff. You seen where the old westerns were filmed, like them running through the canyons and having the shootouts was in that area. It was like, now I see where this was about, because I always wondered where that was at when they was in them old canyons, but they were out there in Montana and all, But so we went through Yellowstone, and
before that we saw signs for Battle Little Bighorn.
Yeah, we went to Little Bighorn,
and we actually got a turkey to gobble.
Yeah, I hooted, and he gobbled at my hoot, and you said you're probably the only one ever made a turkey gobble at Little Bighorn. Yeah, the Battle of Little Bighorn. We stopped and went through there. That was right, But I remember I had a man chew me out about, I got out right beside a buffalo. You remember that, Daddy Park? He come over, he's like, you crazy, whatever? He said, that thing run over you. I wasn't even thinking. They seemed like they was gentle, but then you watch the TV shows where they tearing the cars up.
Well, we had 3 days, and our main mission was to see a grizzly bear.
Yeah, and we seen one, the one that had the collar and all on it. Right. They had a name on it because he was eating an elk.
He was Scarface or something.
Something like that. But then the funny part was we stopped to do some video footage.
Yep. The end of the show, we stopped in this beautiful meadow mountain background to do a talk. All of us got tripods like we do here, camera, and lined up, ending the hunt, kind of wrapping it up, the trip. And we didn't think nothing about it. We
did our video.
We did our video.
Went home.
And then our editor, Corey, come back a couple of weeks later, and he said, boys, I got something to show y'all. And we're sitting there looking at a video camera, and behind us, here comes a grizzly bear with some cubs.
Mom and 2 cubs comes walking within 100 yards behind us, going down through the meadow, and we're standing there with like it ain't.
I had no idea them bears were behind us.
Yeah, and it was kind of crazy. That was funny after it was all over with, but that was a trip, and that was a trip I'll remember. Like I
think that's the only turkey I ever killed on my birthday was on that trip.
It was on that trip.
Yeah.
That will be one that will go down in history with me for memories of trips. I mean, I hope we're going to have plenty more. I think me and you are planning on going to Texas this year, and
the first Texas trip for us was it was a good trip. We killed a lot of turkeys. But
I ain't thought about that as much either. But Texas, we had a good time.
It was humbling experience for me hunting in Texas, because you was hunting with your nephew a lot, and then we even kicked your nephew after he killed one out. So here. You gotta learn how to do.
It was one of them when you take your nephew, he's always on the gun. You got that almost youngin' still with you. And he's like, I'm shooting. It's like,
he killed one. We kicked him out so we could hunt together. Kind of let him learn on his own. And dang, if we didn't struggle, then he killed one that afternoon. We didn't kill one all day.
He killed a big one, like about 1.5 inch spurs. Remember, big old joker. Telling us the story. It was it was just awesome listening to him talk about calling that turkey up. And it was Texas was real pretty. And I mean, them Rios, I had a really good hunt We had actually one morning, and it was funny because Blake, being a teenager then, which he was right out about graduating the high school, that was almost like a graduation trip for him or whatever. But he slept in that morning, and that was the morning with all the gobbling.
Yeah.
Remember that? I mean, it was like turkeys. It was unreal at all the turkeys that were gobbling.
Yeah.
And,
Besides,
and I killed a turkey that morning.
I think in Kansas that first morning, that first year we went out there, that was probably the most turkeys I ever heard in my lifetime gobbling at one time. And then fast forward a few years when we went to Texas, that morning was by far
that was
the
the
most
morning.
turkeys.
It was like every big tree that was around had a turkey.
I mean, it was over.
Gobbling.
I would say in Kansas we was hearing 20 plus, and Texas it was probably 50 plus.
It probably was because me and you was hunting close to each other. We didn't hunt together.
Yeah.
But we was hunting pretty near, and it was.
And they didn't just stop gobbling in the tree.
No,
they
it was
gobbled.
It was wide open, vast land. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So you could hear a lot. The gobbles are different because it's that blah 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 blah. You know, more than that thunder that we have here. But yeah, I remember I finally killed a turkey, and it was like they were on a fence row, and I got on that fence row and called them up. I mean, they gobbled really good that morning, and you about killed a turkey, and I don't know, something happened.
I chased turkeys all across that landscape that morning and come walking back to the truck about 1:30, 2 o'clock, just with my head hanging down. Like I couldn't kill one. It was just one of those things. I wasn't in the right spot.
I forgot I put the turkey that I killed in the truck and went back hunting.
Yeah.
And you come to the truck and been sitting there eating a cracker or something, didn't never know the turkey was laying in the seat beside you.
Yeah.
He was like, well, how'd your morning go? I was like, it's good. He was like, dang, I never knew the turkey was there. You remember that?
Figured out how to kill them, though.
Yeah, we did figure out how to kill them.
Yeah.
Texas is usually, they're going to roost a lot of the same trees.
Yeah. You get close to them roost trees, you can kill them.
What was crazy, though, because you remember that first day, me and Blake set up near that big roost area, and he killed a turkey.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm talking about he killed a turkey where we watched the sunset go down because I took some really pretty pictures.
Right.
Come back to the truck and met you, and turkeys went to gobbling all down there where we was just at taking the pictures. I'm like, that's crazy. I'm like, we was just there. And it just shows how.
Some turkeys didn't fly up till.
I mean, it'd be dark.
It was dark.
It'd be dark.
They start gobbling, an hour or two before, gobble all around the roost trees. But as far as flying up, they wouldn't fly up in the tree till it was about, they couldn't see on the ground no more.
Yeah. Blake was, that was my sister's son. And he was like my little hunting buddy while he was little too. So I can tell you this, enjoy it with your boys because they're all going to, they're going to come back around and do it hunting with you. But while you get to hunting with them, and I guess that's kind of different in nowadays, like we was talking about, like with our dads just pushing us out and pretty much turning us on our own. I really enjoyed hunting with Blake and all them when he got to that age. You know what I mean? It's like doing it on his own now. You don't get to hunt together too much these days. But yeah, I hope we have some really good experiences ahead of us. And like I said, friendship stays strong. I think keeping it in faith and keeping it in church and doing what we're doing, it kind of holds together. But I know the memories of hunting is just, I don't know, it just holds friendship good.
It's kind of like we was talking about earlier. It's like I killed a turkey this year by myself. Probably the first time I've killed a turkey by myself, and I don't know how long. I have to kind of go through my turkey beards, kind of like you got. I got where I killed them and who I was with, but it just didn't. It was fun. Don't get me wrong, but it just didn't. After I shot him, I was like, dang, I didn't share the experience with anybody.
You didn't have nobody to high five.
It wasn't. It was kind of a letdown after I shot him. Was not taking anything away from harvesting the turkey, but it was sharing that experience with somebody means a little bit more to have that memory with. And we've killed close to 30 turkeys together, and more than anybody, friendship wise, that my success rate, I will say, goes up a lot of times when, like Landon or Anthony, whenever we schedule a hunt together, it seems like the Lord kind of works it out that we have we don't always kill a turkey together, but our success rate seems to go up. Well,
I think one thing that made me and you like really good at hunting together, and once we started from that Florida time to like now, especially in Florida, and this is one thing that every turkey hunter, and I believe this, I believe every turkey hunter should have, once you really start hunting, you should have years to where you hunt by yourself, because that's how you build yourself as a turkey hunter. You know, I'm not going to consider somebody a really turkey hunter that sits, the caller is a turkey hunter, but somebody that's went off on a guided hunts or killed a bunch of turkeys, but they hadn't really called them in themselves. Be a true turkey hunter. You got to build the knowledge. You got to get out there. You got to want it. You know what I mean? You're obsessed by it, kind of like we are, and you want to learn it on your own. You're going to go through a spell from a teenager or whatever, no matter when you start. I think you're going to go through a spell of where you want to do it on your own, because that's what it means to you. I want to call my own turkey. I want to kill my own turkeys. After you've done that so much, and then you start hunting with friends, you kind of, that gets to be a more on the back burner. Well, I know I can kill turkeys. Now it's enjoying the companionship and running together and having good times, even like trips, or even just getting up in the morning. Like me and you, I mean, in the morning time, me and you get up, a cup of coffee or whatever, riding. It's just enjoying. If we're not hunting together, if you're going with Trip, and I've been, or your boys and whoever, Landon, and I'm taking a lot of people to look at this being stupid, but I don't. And when I leave the house, about when I'm leaving the house, you leave the house, the phone rings, and we're talking most of the way there. You know what I mean? Yeah. What's your game plan? What you gonna do? Where you going?
Wishing you good luck and hope y'all.
That's right. Some. And so like now, I killed a turkey by myself this year. And I mean, I hunt a lot of week mornings and don't have nobody to go with me, or end up by myself. And that turkey was still flopping, the phone's instantly calling you, I done busted one in the head. And I mean, it's like you trying to have somebody to share it with. So it is a lot into that. And I think that I would rather, like you said, I would rather hunt something. And this isn't one of them things. And I tell people, I don't want it to be like, oh, I do this or it's me, but you've known me about this too, is like talking about 30 turkeys. I counted it up this year, and I think I was on 32 people's first turkey that I ever called up. And that's always, and this year and last year was like two of my favorites, because called up took Brad's boy, and he killed a turkey at 13 years old, and then had a 59-year-old killed his first turkey. And last year it was Danny's grandson. Mm-hmm. He was 12, killed his first turkey. And then I took an 80-year-old man and killed his first turkey. You know what I mean? So that's always a thing that just brightens me about turkey season, when you can help somebody get there first. Now, I will say, after I get there first, it's like you kind of push them to, okay, now, you know what I mean? You got to want it a little bit to get out there, to try to kill one on your own or whatever. But I do love that. Turkey hunting, when it comes to like me and you, I think some people used to say my uncle would hunt a mosquito if there was a season. We love to hunt just everything. So, but I think that everybody knows that turkey hunting is what's in our blood. And it is a bond between most people that are turkey hunting. And one reason I think turkey hunting brings such a bond with people is because it isn't that jealousy like deer hunting.
Yeah. Although we heard Michael Waddell talking about you can't shoot a turkey unless it's that kind of scape has come into it, and that's a whole nother thing. But yeah, there's the jealousy is there in turkey hunting, but it's more of a bond and relationship in the woods with an animal and interaction with them that you get to, some people will tell you the truth and some people will lie to you, but it's that bond in the woods with that turkey and getting to talk with him.
Right.
That you get to experience.
Communicating back and forth with him. It's actually, you're not just sitting there waiting on an animal to walk out. Yeah. You're going to find him, pursue him, to change his mind and going that way, to try to bring him back to you, to put him in the gun range. And really, when it comes down to it, we can talk all it is about the decoys. You can go into this, and we might go do an episode where we go into all that. People like hearing about it. Our thoughts on decoys, our thoughts on about calling, our thoughts on this, and it is good stuff to do. But I'll be honest with you, when it comes to turkey hunting, and I think you've seen this in me, and I've seen it kind of in you at times, but when it gets into a lot of times by myself, I just want an old turkey call and a shotgun. You know what I mean? If I am hunting by myself, I want it the old school way as you can get it. Let's just go in there and find one and see if I can coax him into the gun. With don't even hardly carry the decoy or nothing. Just do it old school. And old school still lives in me, and when it comes to turkey hunting, and it always will. Is the really genuine way that I love to hunt. It's the way that I grew up hunting. And all the technology is nice, and I use it. And I use it, especially I'm going to have a decoy every time I take a kid. First time hunter, you know what I mean? You're stupid not to. Put them on there. Let the turkey's eyes get on that instead of them. But like I said, that's a rabbit hole we can go down. But I don't know. I just know that it does help build strong relationships, and it brings friends, like we was talking about Kevin. Me and Kevin's still friends today, and it all was from knocking on the door, and we've actually shared and killed a turkey together. You know what I mean? Right. So it's memories that we'll have, and it's made us, as far as he lives in different states, it makes us still have a bond with each other, and it brings more than just a hunting friendship. I could call him if I was out that way and needed something. I know he's that kind of guy. He would be there.
It's definitely the hunting with friends is more enjoyable, but that bond you have with everybody is. And
I'm gonna kind of end it with this. We've touched on a lot of stuff, and I've really enjoyed being able to sit down and talk with you about some of the stuff we've grown as friendships and all. But in Philippians 2:3, it says, "Do nothing from selfishness or empty conceit, but with humility consider one another as more important than yourself." And that's one thing like now that I, try to look at, and you use this as all in all Christian aspects and doing stuff good for the Lord. But really, as you age and get to be more older in life, and when it comes to hunting and the outdoors, and I think that's why I like Lake Country Outdoors, is what he's got and wanted me to do is just give it to others, show it, and pass it on. That's where the tradition of pass it on others, even Mossy Oak and all's had is he give the outdoors for all of us, and we should share it. We should really put more people into it and enjoy it with others, because it probably, besides being in a church and really some good gospel singing with the Holy Spirit, coming together in the outdoors can bring some of the best times and best good-hearted feelings that I've probably ever had in my life, So I appreciate you being on the podcast with me, man, and I really enjoy it. And I know I'm going to probably have you on a few more. We and you got a lot we could always talk about. And I know come January during turkey season, about the start of next turkey season, we'll have to hit up a couple of podcasts together. So
we can ramble on for a little while about those rabbit holes we didn't touch on today.
Yeah, because we can go down some big old rabbit holes, you know what I mean?
I thank you having me on the show, Jamie.
Well, I enjoyed it. I appreciate it, Joey.
Hopefully the good Lord will bless it, and I feel like it's something that's tugging at your heart to share with others, and hopefully it's something that will continue to grow for you.
Well, I appreciate it.
Shucking silver queen on my grandma's porch, peach ice cream churning on the floor, telling largemouth lies when you're fishing. Girl next door had you wishing on a shooting star in a July sky. 4th and 1 on a Friday night when the muddy water made my soul a little cleaner. Life was good and the tea was a little sweeter.